Sherlock Holmes at your service, here to solve the mystery of the legacy core black box. Your transaction core runs everything, and yet you can't see in it. Now, why get all your crumpets all up in a jam about this? It's because your data and risk teams are mandated to provide proof of data lineage from these legacy cores. Your business and tech teams are modernizing systems that no one fully understands anymore. Your transformation initiatives are taking risks on the data breaks with every new product and systems change. And the talk of this town is that you need to understand your data from your most critical system to be AI ready. In these next few minutes, I'll show you how my new sidekick, Zengines Data Lineage, specifically for legacy systems, solves this black box problem. In the 1950s, applications were being built for banks and other institutions using COBOL and RPG, legacy code. These systems, known as your banking and transaction cores on mainframes and AS400s, are still in high use and quite performant. The risk to business leaders is that the experts that once coded, designed, or are still managing these applications are getting scarcer by the day. And it's nearly impossible for them to respond to all inquiries coming from business, tech, and compliance. If your organization has these legacy cores, you're not alone. 92 out of the top 100 US banks have a mainframe core. And over 50% of regional banks and credit unions have an RPG core. I'm talking to you, users of FIS, Fiserv, and Jack Henry. So, if you are a CDO, CIO, CRO, or a business leader that needs to respond to regulators and the board about that black box, well then, my dear Watson, this demo is for you. I said legacy, right? This is real COBOL code processing banking transactions. You can see it's clean enough, but not easy to navigate to answer basic common business questions like, where does that data come from? Or what happens to my liquidity ratio when the rules change? So let's step into Finovate Bank. And shine a light into this black box. First things first, you might want to know what is going on in this application. And in that way, Zengines makes it easy through a point-click experience to navigate this application by looking at all the elements, modules, tables, fields, variables, jobs, and uniquely special to Zengines is the ability to also traverse and get data provenance on the external data files. These are the subsets of information that your system may be reading from or writing to. And there's critical transformation logic existing in these batch files, flat files, and interfaces. If any one of these elements are still opaque to you, you can simply click on the Zengines Lineage Assist and get a business summary of what is processing and what's happening in this module. In today's world, your SMEs and experts are taking days, weeks, if not months to first free up and then navigate hundreds or thousands of modules in order to provide this level of information. In seconds, you see that we can now explain that this program extracts active account records and puts it into a reporting application. And if you need more information, you can see that Zengines will provide that next depth of information to all types of analysts. To the BA, more information about what's going on. To the technical team, information about the interdependencies and test cases that may need to be considered. And to the data and risk team, inputs, outputs, lineage, and logic. If the visual view is what's helpful, you can simply click on Module Logic. And you can see here that it's easy for you to now navigate across all of these elements within your program. More important than just the handoffs is what's happening between them. This is where we expose the actual calculations and logic that makes your data change between reports, time periods, or transaction types. Now, it's wonderful to finally have transparency and clarity into these black boxes, but what we really know is that analysts and leaders really care about answers. And in that way, Zengines has a mode that allows you to ask a question and get a direct answer. Here is Ask a Lineage. Ask a lineage question. We know that compliance to regulations is a non-negotiable priority. So let's see how Finovate Bank is responding to your Bank Secrecy Act. You can simply type a plain English question. Tell me about large cash transactions and what I need to worry about if I change things. And once again, you can see here in seconds that you get a direct response from your application about what the application is doing. It will share with you what took your team so much information to accumulate across all these handoffs and changes and scenarios. And you can see here that it is showing you have a program that certainly does monitor for these large cash transactions. There are 2 ways and flags that it's being monitored. And if you wanted to understand the change, we also share with you what you need to consider around that. Remember that question about where does this data come from? You can also get that information at the variable level, where the variable can tell you what's being used in what different programs, but in the very fast way of sharing with you where the origin is, here is that direct answer. It's that simple. It's that easy. No SMEs, no SQL, no coding necessary. These were just a set of questions from one analyst. What we encourage you to do is recognize that legacy systems aren't going away. Regulators aren't slowing down. You want to have your data ready for AI. The 3 things to remember: no to risky waiting, yes to business answers, and go Zengines. This is Sherlock signing off. Case closed.